I'd like to call to order this meeting of the Peabody City Council Finance Committee meeting. Present for the committee tonight, Councilors Gould, Manning Martin, Rosignol, Turco, and myself as chair. All other councilors except Councilor Welton are present. Committee members, we have 4 items on the agenda tonight. I just want to point out that items B and C, the mayor informed me that he, as well as some of the other department heads, that would need to be available to support those 2 items. Items B and C were not going to be available this evening, so we are going to defer those 2 topics to a later Finance Committee meeting. But we are going to take up items A and C. Item A is a transfer of funds request, cable fund expense, $120,000. This is a deposit that came in from Comcast for capital equipment facilities fee payment, and according to the city's cable agreement, 100% of these funds are earmarked for Peabody Access Television. So therefore, the request was asked to transfer this to Peabody Access Television. Questions from the committee? Councilor Gould.
No questions, Mr. Chairman, but I'm ready to make a motion when you're...
Councilor Gould, please proceed with the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to make a motion to move from accountant receipts reserve cable fund, account number 2700000330017 in the amount of $120,000 to cable fund expenses, account number 2700000530007, again in the amount of $120,000. So move, Mr. Chairman.
Councilors, you heard the motion from Councilor Gould. On the motion, seeing none, roll call.
Councilors Gould.
Yes.
Manning Martin.
Yes.
Turco.
Yes.
Rosignol.
Yes.
McGinn.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Item E on the agenda was a item which was a communication from the building commissioner regarding ZBA fees and weights and measures fees. And the building commissioner is here this evening, Mr. Telrico.
Al Telrico, Building Commissioner, City of Peabody. Good afternoon, everyone. As I stated in my letter, actually there's one item on this letter, after reviewing it and discussing it with Don Kahn, the request for the ZBA fee schedule really doesn't have to go in front of the council. After taking a look at our city ordinances and other areas, and discussing it with our city clerk too, there is really, there's no area in our ordinances that refers to these fees. These fees are actually part of the rules and regulations under the ZBA, and they have authority regarding changing them or updating them. With that said, the Weights and Measures Department, just small housekeeping items that I've been asked to take a look at after my budget meeting with the mayor. These are some items that we need to clean up, some services that we haven't been charging for, and some rate increases, very modest, I believe, that reflect the rates of the surrounding communities. So my request tonight is just the proposal moving forward for weights and measures. And if anybody has any questions, I did bring weights and measures Officer Jim Collins kind of to go through the details of those line items. He's more familiar with those things than I am.
Thank you, Mr. Telrico. So the committee is clear. The ZBA fee request is off the table, and we're focusing exclusively on the weights and measures adjustment. Questions from the committee? Councilor Rossignol.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I do understand that the ZBA fee proposal schedule is off the table, but where it is in front of us, I do have one question regarding it. How does that compare to other cities' rates?
If you take a look at your package, I had my ZBA secretary, Carla, kind of look at the surrounding communities to see where we lined up. And we are the lowest in the surrounding areas, at least on those communities that she highlighted. The rates that we're proposing are just basically maybe $100 more on the residential side, and that's in the proposal is basically just trying to take these two checks that we individually get from an applicant and kind of combine them into one.
Thank you. And I absolutely agree with you trying to combine and make it a much more user-friendly process, and I do appreciate that. So thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Councilor Rossignol. Other questions from the committee? Questions from other councilors? Councilor Manning Martin.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Through you to Mr. Tallarico. Can you help me out with, since these are combined, I'm just looking to take a look at the weights and measures portion. Is it the one that says fees of recently adjusted districts? Is that weights and measures? And then there's another one, proposed fees and structures effective January 1st, 2020. Is the first sheet what it is now, and the second one what is proposed?
Councilor Manning, are you talking about this particular fee, the proposal? Okay, that was Jim Collins' spreadsheet on the surrounding areas. He's got it broken down to show the surrounding areas. He's targeting some towns like Lynn, Worcester, Springfield, and Framingham, and he's giving you the overall averages. I don't think our proposal is part of those fees, unless when you're looking at that second page, proposed fee structure effective January 2022. Jimmy, maybe you can help me out with that.
Excuse me, just so the rest of the council, Jim? Thank you.
Collins, I'm the sealer of weights and measures for the city of Peabody. I'm not sure what page you're looking at, but on the page it says proposed fee structure effective January 1, 2022. The headings there, going from left and right, are devices, and then below that is the devices that we inspect. The next column is a brief description of some of those devices. Then it says average fees of the more recently adjusted districts. So we looked at districts that have recently increased their fees and averaged out, and that's what is in that column. The next column over is the current fees that we're charging for these inspections, and then the next column over is the proposed fees that we're adjusting to.
Thank you for that clarification. So I know it was mentioned earlier, we haven't raised the weights and measures fees for some time. I think the last time someone was up here requesting it, Jean Burbridge was the weights and measure, the director of that department. Is that correct? So it's been several years ago.
Yeah, Council Manning, I think it was 2008, and it was Jean Carnavale. Yeah,
Oh, I'm sorry.
think she
What
was-
name did I say?
well,
Same person.
Oh, okay, okay.
yeah.
So, now I'm looking at these with that explanation, and thank you, that was an excellent explanation breaking down this sheet for me, thank you. So I look at, since it hasn't been since 2008, and let's just go to, let's see, let's pick 100 to 1,000 pounds for the device. The average recently adjusted districts are $126, and ours is $55, and you're proposing it to go up only $20 for $70, yet we haven't adjusted these since 2008. Do you think that is a large enough adjustment? Because you're still coming in well under all the other districts. And that would be probably because we haven't adjusted them and we haven't done anything with them for 13 years. So I'm wondering if the adjustment is enough to get closer to the average of the newly adjusted districts. It seems like we're really lagging behind because it hasn't been addressed for some time.
You know, when looking at the fees, I try to balance out, you know, the average and what we've been charging. I don't want to move it so dramatically that it's just, I feel that the need that we're trying to achieve right here, to, you know, and you can see through some of the proposals, I'm averaging out the revenue per year, like what we're doing, and we're averaging out, we're looking at an average revenue of $25,000, and with the proposed changes, we're looking at about another $9,000 increase. I think that's, you know, when you're looking at businesses and the surrounding communities, I think that those fees that, you know, are pretty much in line. I mean, could we go back a couple of years after and probably adjust it? I think so. You know, I just don't want to go too much with the fees that I put myself, you know, or Jimmy at a situation where he's trying to justify these fees to certain businesses.
Thank you, and I appreciate the position that you're in. Is there any common practice that these fees should be reviewed annually or biannually or every 3 years or so to see if they, you know, you need to come forward? Because again, I think the position that you're in is due to, and the cost of these fees being so far behind the other communities is because it hasn't been reviewed and brought forward. So that's why I think you're in that position. So could you suggest to the council that it be reviewed every some number of years so that we don't continue to lag behind, and that you're not in this position? I appreciate your position, but it may be something that we want to look at. Or what would your recommendation be? Every 2 years, every 3 years, or do you have any thoughts on that?
Sure. You know, going through this process from the building side that we did, I think we approved it last year sometime. I'm sorry. Going through this process last year when we revamped all the building fees, electrical, plumbing, associated fees with the building department, you know, taking a look at that process, and I feel that if it should be looked at least every 3 years.
Thank you. So I will leave that to you if you could move forward with that in mind. I think that may put the city and you in a better position, and you know, you won't feel, oh geez, I have to come back to the council again and increase fees. It will be scheduled, and you should say, I think we need to increase them, or you can say, I think they're fine. But you won't be in this position again, I think. So I would make that a suggestion to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Manning Martin. Councilor Gould.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I need to ask a dumb question, but Al, you can maybe help me out. There's no such thing as a dumb question, right? I don't know what over 10,000 pounds down to 0 to 10 pounds, what are we weighing? I guess
This is the
this is a
reason why I took Jimmy with me today. You know, some of these, and we went through this. It's the technical or those device items, I'm not that familiar with. So
these weights are broken down over pieces of equipment that are being inspected. A truck scale can hold 125,000 pounds, so that would be in the over 10,000 pound. So when a truck scale is getting inspected, we have like 9 of them in the city. That fee would be for the truck scale would be now $175 as to compared to the 145. The 10 pounds or less are more of a scale that you would find at a pharmacy. The 10 to 100 pounds, that's what you would see at Shaw's or Big Y. The 30-pound scales that they're using at the point of sale system at the cash registers, or they're using in the delis. And then you have like platform scales for shipping that weigh, you know, somewhere between 1 and 5,000 pounds. And then some bigger scales that would weigh 5 to 10.
Thank you, Mr. Collins. Through you, Mr. Chairman, to Mr. Collins. So every time a scale is used, every scale, regardless of whether it's food, produce, or trucks, has to be certified every year?
Yes.
And in order for them to get certified, they have to, for instance, they have to pay, whatever, over 10,000 pounds, has to pay $175 a year.
That would be the new fee.
Great.
Yes.
Thank you. I learned something. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilor Gould. Other councilors? Seeing none. At this time, I'd entertain a motion to adopt the building commissioner's proposed weights and measures fees as indicated in the building commissioner's communication dated June 14th, 2021, and maintain such updated fee schedule at the city clerk's office in accordance with section 31-5 of the ordinances of the city of Peabody.
So moved.
Mr. President.
Councilors, you heard the motion from Councilor Rossignol. On the motion, seeing none, roll call.
Councilors Gould.
Yes.
Manning Martin.
Yes.
Turco.
Yes.
Rossignol.
Yes.
McGinn.
Yes.
Motion carries 5 to 0.
I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion adjourned.
We are adjourned.